Greetings, my friend, to the Red Delta Project YouTube channel, helping you escape the diet and exercise rat race. My name is Matt Schifferly, and today's episode, we're looking at the top common signs that your tension control in your muscles is woefully inadequate, which is a vitally important thing to recognize and understand, because from ping pong to powerlifting, your neuromuscular proficiency, or how well you can use your muscles, is the foundation for all of your success, regardless of what you want to accomplish in your training. Which means that if you are lacking in that tension control, you're always going to struggle with getting what you want out of your training, regardless of any other variables, like what equipment you're using, how good your program is, and other things. The opposite's also the case. You improve that tension control and suddenly everything works so much better, and you can use pretty much any type of equipment or program you want, and you're still gonna get fantastic results. So sign number one that you have a very poor ability to control the tension in your muscles is you just simply don't feel the muscles working that well in the exercise. Now, it doesn't mean that if you don't feel it working that you're not getting something in that muscle, but with these tricep extensions, for example, I really want to make sure my triceps are like, holy smokes, they are really working. I can really feel them. And if I was doing this and it felt like, well, I guess they're on, I guess they're doing their thing, then yeah, they may very well be working, but not nearly to the degree that you want for what you want to get out of it, building bigger and stronger triceps. So if you're not really feeling the muscle work, that's a pretty big red flag. Couple that, sign number two is if you just don't consistently feel the muscle working very well. So you could be doing push-ups one day and you're like, oh wow, yeah, totally blasting my chest, I'm feeling it in the pecs, oh that's amazing. And then the next workout or two and you're like, I barely feel it in the chest at all. Like, what gives? I had it the other day, I guess I'm off, or just something's a little bit off in my technique. And that's usually a sign that your tension control is good, but it's just not something you're proactively using as enough that you have consistency in how the exercise feels in the muscle. The third sign of poor tension control is these little nagging aches and pains that just seem to keep plaguing your joints time and time again. Because remember, our muscles are like the shock absorbers for the tissues around our joints. So if I'm constantly doing leg raises, and I'm like, oh man, I feel it like, the shoulders, that's a wonky shoulder, or feeling my lower back, and that tightness, that tension. It doesn't even need to be pain, just this overall stress in the joints is usually a sign that there's some muscles along the system or the chain that you're working that aren't quite engaging and doing their job of protecting those joints. The next one is a little bit more of a feeling of unease when you're doing the exercise. This can be particularly the case with things like leg training or things that involve our posterior chain, where if I'm getting ready to do an exercise and I'm kind of like, oh boy, I don't know about this. It's kind of feeling a little wonky, like, oh, I just got to get it just right, and I'm a little unsure about what I'm doing. This timidation that we have with the exercise is a good sign that we're not really engaging the muscles in a very powerful synergistic way. Instead, you want to feel like the exercise you're doing is something that you have this like ownership over. Like, okay, got it set, and I'm up and down. Very good. Up. Yep. No hesitancy, no unease, like not quite sure about it. This feeling of almost like a mastery over the movement, even if it is quite challenging on the muscles. And then the final sign of poor neuromuscular engagement is feeling a wildly different experience in the muscles due to slight variations of exercises. And this is very common, especially with pull-ups, where if I have pull-ups and my hands are facing forwards, then I'm like, oh wow, that is all in my back. It's very much in the lats. It's 100% all in the back musculature. And then if I did this, and I'm like, oh, now it's all biceps. It's super focused on the biceps. And yes, variations like this will change the flavor of the exercise. But when we have good proactive tension and engagement of the muscles, it shouldn't really be that different. So this is certainly back and biceps. And this is, again, back and biceps. Like my back doesn't really feel that different depending on my grip. And when we have that great difference in like, this feels totally different and radically altered, that's usually a sign our tension control is reactive versus proactive. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're placing emphasis on one muscle or the other. It usually means you're turning off or decreasing the engagement of the other muscles. And at the end of the day, improving your tension control is one of the most important things that you can do to improve the effectiveness, the satisfaction, and the safety of every workout you ever do, regardless of the programming or the modality. And I made this video here on my 3 top ways to drastically improve your tension control as quickly as possible. Let me know if you have questions down below. Thank you very much for watching. Be fit and live free.